everybody. I'm Joe here at the Portland Seattle Coffee Gear, and today we are going to take a very broad approach to the discussion of tasting. There are so many specifics that you can break into, but all in all, it doesn't matter. Taste is completely subjective. Your mood changes how you taste. You have a lifetime of experience that change how you taste. So all that really matters at the end of the day is your coffee good or isn't it? If you like it, you're good. If you don't, knowing some terminology can really help you find what it is you don't like about your coffee, which will help you engineer and develop the coffee that you do like. So we generally have two different types of roast out there on the market. There is a light or medium roast and a dark roast. They do completely different things to the coffee from a food science chemical standpoint. And one roasts out a lot of the natural nuance of the bean. That's the dark roasted coffee. So you get things that taste a lot more like baker's chocolate, caramelized sugars, and more often than not, some wood, because coffee is cellulose based. It's from a plant. And then you have light roasts, which tend to be a lot more nuanced. You get things like berry and floral and citrus, because there's a lot more uncooked, naturally present sugar in the bean. So you can actually taste that when you brew your coffee, quote unquote, properly. In the light range of tasting notes, you get a lot of citruses, a lot of floral notes, and then a lot of fruity notes. And the fruity notes tend to be stone fruit and berry. So like when you bite into a ripe peach straight off of the vine and your eyebrows shoot to the top of your head, and it's like, this is amazing. That sweetness, that light, that life, you're tasting the sunlight in the plant. Good coffees can have that present, and you're drinking it. It's like, oh, hey, this doesn't taste like just coffee. There's a delicacy here that is vibrant. So that hits you in the front of the mouth, all of those lighter flavor profiles. They tend to be the first thing your brain processes and the first thing you taste. As the coffee moves through your mouth, it builds in body, builds in stronger flavor profiles that are more towards the darker notes. So even if you have a lightly roasted coffee, it can still taste like hibiscus, honey, and chocolate. That chocolate is almost always going to be present in the majority of the coffees you drink because it's so prominent. Chocolate and coffee grow in the same part of the world. The plants process energy in a very similar fashion, so they make very similar tasting food. When you read the bag of coffee and you see the tasting notes that they have on here, like this particular one is Matilda's Dark Roast from Nossa Familia. They say it tastes like dark chocolate, almond, and Cavendish tobacco. That's a very specific qualifier at the end. I've never chewed on Cavendish tobacco, but there is a certain herbaceousness to this coffee that is incredibly pleasant, and it translates more to that darker roast. This is a dark roast. And you can read the tasting notes and sort of understand what the roaster was trying to do with their coffee to engineer it better for you at home. So when you see a super lightly roasted coffee and it says Marciano cherries, there are things you can do to that brewing process to make it taste more and more like a sweet, candied Marciano cherry. It's not going to taste exactly like a Marciano cherry, but your brain will make the connection of, hey, this is bright and kind of red, and it's going to start looking for those pathways, those neurons, and it's going to travel through there and be like, oh, hey, this tasted like that time you were at that bar and you had that Marciano cherry in that Shirley Temple. This coffee kind of tastes like Marciano cherry. It's a really fun process. And the way you get there is by drinking your coffee and asking yourself, do I like this or don't I like this? If you do like it or if you don't like it, then you ask why. And every sip, don't try to taste the tasting note, just be like, why do I like this? Why do I like this? Why do I like this? And keep on asking yourself that question because you're training your brain to think about why you like this. And since we are beings designed to taste foods, eventually your brain's going to start saying, I like this because it tastes like X. I like this because it tastes like Y. And that's when you can get to the point where you're sipping a cup of coffee and it tastes like banana bread and cinnamon. It's like, how did I get that when a month ago it just tasted like coffee? It's all about building language at that point. The more language you have around taste, the more you think about the taste, the more you can then taste. But like I said at the beginning, all that matters really is, do you like the coffee or don't?